Shame is not an emotion. In the realm of power, shame is a tactical displacement. When someone shames you, they aren't offering a critique. They are performing a public ritual to lower your rank. They are signaling to the tribe that you are a safe target for extraction. You feel that heat in your chest, the biological urge to shrink, to hide, to apologize. That is your primate brain preparing for exile. It is the most dangerous instinct you possess. Machiavelli understood that the prince must either be pampered or crushed. There is no middle ground for the man who allows his reputation to be handled by others. Every time you laugh off a public humiliation or swallow a joke at your expense, you are training the predator to bite harder next time. You are providing them with a map of your boundaries and showing them exactly where the fences are down. This is the anatomy of the strike. The shamer identifies a perceived flaw, amplifies it in front of an audience, and watches to see if you accept the new lower identity they've assigned to you. If you flinch, you lose. If you explain yourself, you lose. To explain is to submit to their jurisdiction. You are effectively saying, "Please, judge, listen to my defense." But a sovereign man recognizes no unauthorized judges. You must view these moments not as personal slights, but as territorial incursions. The goal is not to feel better. The goal is to make the cost of shaming you so high that the aggressor never dares to attempt the ritual again. You are not a victim of a social gaffe. You are the target of a surgical strike. Not every barb requires a counter-strike. To react to every minor slight is to be a puppet on a string, dancing for anyone who pulls. You must differentiate between organic friction and predatory shaming. Organic friction occurs when a peer or superior points out a genuine failure in your performance. It is direct. It is often private. It aims to correct the behavior, not the man. Predatory shaming is different. It is performed. It is loud. It targets your identity, who you are, rather than what you did. Watch the eyes of the person attacking you. Are they looking for a solution, or are they looking at the audience to see if their status is rising at your expense? In the courts of the Medici, a misplaced word could end a career. Machiavelli observed that men do not seek the truth, they seek the vantage point. When someone shames you, they are attempting to seize the high ground. If they say, "You're always so disorganized" in front of the board, they aren't helping you manage your calendar. They are declaring themselves the authority and you the incompetent child. This is the audit. Ask yourself, what is the profit in this attack? If the profit is status, you are in a power struggle. If you respond with logic to a status attack, you have already lost. You are treating a war like a debate. You must see the mechanism of the insult, not the words, but the movement of the pieces on the board. Once you identify that this is a grab for dominance, your emotional response must die. You are no longer a participant, you are an observer of a failing strategy. The amateur's mistake is speed. When shamed, the average man feels a frantic need to fill the silence. He stammers, he justifies, or he erupts in a fragile rage. All three responses confirm one thing to the aggressor. The strike landed. You have been moved. And in the theater of power, if you can be moved, you can be controlled. Strategic non-reaction is the art of the void. It is a refusal to provide the hit the shamer is looking for. When a predator lunges and finds only air, they lose their footing. Think of the predator-prey dynamic in nature. A gazelle flees because it is a victim. A lion remains still because it has no reason to fear. By remaining surgically still, you shift the burden of discomfort back onto the attacker. Consider the long pause. When someone delivers a humiliating joke at your expense, do not laugh, do not frown, simply look at them. Maintain a neutral, heavy gaze for 3 seconds longer than is comfortable. In that silence, the audience stops looking at you as the victim and starts looking at the attacker as the social deviant. You are making them own the awkwardness they tried to project onto you. Machiavelli noted that it is better to be feared than loved, but he also knew that being ignored is the ultimate insult to a status seeker. By offering no emotional data, you become a mirror. They see their own insecurity reflected in your stillness. You aren't taking the high road. That is a cope for the weak. You are starving the fire of oxygen. You are signaling that their opinion carries so little weight that it didn't even register as a threat. Once the silence has destabilized the aggressor, you move from defense to counter-offensive. This is the mirror reversal. Most men try to defend their honor by arguing against the premise. If they call you lazy, you list your accomplishments. This is a fatal error. By defending yourself, you validate their right to accuse you. Instead, you adopt the surgical pincer movement. You take their premise and hand it back to them, dripping with their own intent. Use the clarification trap. When someone shames you with a backhanded comment, ask them to explain it with total, cold sincerity. That's an interesting thing to say in front of the group. What was your goal with that comment? Watch the blood drain from their face. By forcing them to explain the joke or the insult, you strip away the veil of humor or casualness they were hiding behind. You are dragging them out of the shadows and into the light of their own malice. Shaming only works when it is subtle and socially sanctioned. The moment you make it explicit, the shamer looks like the aggressor, and you look like the adult in the room. Machiavelli knew that men should either be treated generously or destroyed. By using the mirror reversal, you are not being generous. You are showing them that you see through the mask. You are signaling that you are a high-resolution observer who cannot be gaslit. You aren't just surviving the humiliation, you are using it as a scalpel to dissect the shamer's character in front of everyone they were trying to impress. Power is a performance, and shaming is a bid for the lead role. When someone humiliates you, they are attempting to sanctify their own status by sacrificing yours. To destroy them, you must reverse the ritual. You must perform a public desanctification. You do not attack their facts, you attack their composure. In the biological world, a high-status primate is characterized by emotional regulation. The low-status underling is the one who screeches, flails, and seeks constant validation from the troop. By shaming you, the aggressor is actually revealing a deep, shivering need to be seen as superior. Use this. Point it out with the cold detachment of a pathologist. If they erupt or use a biting sarcasm, respond with, "You seem very invested in making this point. Are you okay? You're sounding a bit desperate." This is the death blow. By questioning their emotional stability, you move the focus from your supposed flaw to their obvious instability. You have effectively desanctified them. They are no longer the cool, dominant figure. They are a frantic child throwing a tantrum for attention. Machiavelli observed that a prince must avoid being hated, but more importantly, he must avoid being despised. Contempt is the ultimate status killer. When you treat their shaming attempt as a symptom of their own insecurity, you are teaching the audience to view the aggressor with contempt. You aren't just winning the argument, you are recoding the hierarchy so that you sit at the top, unmoved, while they remain at the bottom, begging for a reaction you refuse to give. The mob loves a spectacle, but the strategist loves a result. Most men satisfy their ego with a quick comeback, a win that lasts 10 seconds and creates a permanent enemy. This is the mistake of the impulsive. If you strike back immediately and emotionally, you validate the conflict. You become the guy in the fight. Machiavellian retribution is cold, calculated, and often delayed. Machiavelli famously noted that injuries should be done all at once, so that being felt less, they offend less. But for the man who has been shamed, your move is to collect the debt. You do not explode in the moment. You file the transgression away in a mental ledger. You remain cordial. You remain professional. You wait for the moment when the aggressor is vulnerable, perhaps when they need a favor, a recommendation, or a silent ally in a meeting. And then you deny them. This isn't petty. It is the enforcement of a social tax. By waiting, you separate the punishment from the heat of the original humiliation. They may not even realize why the doors are suddenly closing for them, but you will. This is the ghost strike. You aren't fighting for the approval of the witnesses. You are pruning a weed from your garden when it is most convenient for you. While they have forgotten their joke from 3 months ago, you have been surgically positioning yourself to ensure their next move fails. Real power is the ability to wait until the cost of your revenge is zero and the impact is total. In the corporate arena, shaming is rarely overt. It is dressed in the language of accountability, transparency, or culture. It happens in the CC line of an email or during a Zoom call when a peer circles back to a mistake you made 3 weeks ago. This is bureaucratic predation. They aren't trying to fix the project. They are trying to fix your ceiling so you never rise above them. To neutralize this, you must adopt a stance of hyper-professionalism. When the shaming attempt arrives, you strip away the subtext and treat it as a data entry. If a manager tries to embarrass you in a meeting, do not get defensive, do not apologize. Instead, lean into the technicality. I see you've brought this up in the group setting. Let's look at the metrics. If your concern is the ROI, I have the numbers here. If your concern is something else, perhaps we should define that now. You have just performed a frame shift. You moved the interaction from the emotional, where they have the advantage of the bully pulpit, to the analytical, where you have the advantage of the facts. Machiavelli warned that he who is the cause of another becoming powerful is the ruin of himself. By allowing a colleague to shame you into silence, you are funding their promotion with your own reputation. In professional environments, the person who remains the most objective wins the long game. The audience, your superiors, isn't looking for who is right, they are looking for who is the most unshakable. When you refuse to be flustered by a public call-out, you signal that you are management material, while the person trying to shame you reveals themselves as a political liability. You don't defeat them by being better at insults. You defeat them by being so competent and composed that their insults look like a breach of protocol. Predators in the wild do not choose the strongest bull to attack. They look for the one with the slight limp, the one that lags behind, the one that keeps its head down. Shaming is a biological test of your social armor. If you are being targeted repeatedly, it is because you are broadcasting vulnerability signals. You are likely providing what psychologists call the payoff, the visible flinch, the averted eyes, or the frantic justification. Machiavelli noted that it is much safer to be feared than loved. If you are being shamed, it is because you have prioritized being liked or polite over being respected. You have trained people that shaming you is a low-risk, high-reward activity. To stop the cycle, you must undergo a radical audit of your nonverbal communication. Look at your posture in meetings. Listen to the tone of your voice when you are challenged. Do you end your sentences with a rising inflection, as if asking for permission? Do you take up less space when someone enters the room? These are the scents of a scapegoat. The shamer is simply responding to the biological cues you are emitting. To rewrite this, you must adopt controlled aggression, not an outburst, but a shift in your baseline. You must become expensive to attack. When the next shaming attempt occurs, your response must be so sharp, so calm, and so dismissive that the attacker feels a sudden, cold realization: the gazelle just turned into a predator. You are no longer a safe place for them to dump their insecurities. You must break the feedback loop by ensuring that every attempt to shame you results in a net loss of status for the person who tried it. To destroy the power of shame, you must first destroy the part of yourself that craves the approval of the mediocre. Most men are held hostage by a social contract they never signed. They believe that if they are kind, compliant, and good, the world will treat them with dignity. This is a slave's delusion. The world does not respect goodness, it respects boundaries. The people pleaser is the ultimate victim because his self-worth is an externalized asset. It is a currency held in the pockets of others. When someone shames you, they are simply devaluing that currency. If you need their okay to feel like a man, you have given them a remote control for your nervous system. You must perform a psychological scorched earth policy. Machiavelli understood that the masses are fickle. They follow the winner, not the saint. To become sovereign, you must accept the possibility of being the villain in someone else's story. If someone calls you arrogant because you stood your ground, wear it. If they call you cold because you didn't laugh at their pathetic joke, accept it. The moment you stop fearing the label loses its sting. You are killing the boy within you who is still looking for his mother's nod of approval. When you no longer care if the tribe thinks you are a good guy, you become dangerous. You become unshameable. Not because you are perfect, but because you have withdrawn the jurisdiction of the court. You are no longer a citizen of their social order. You are a state of one. The average man lives in a state of perpetual apology. He monitors the faces of others to gauge his own right to exist. When he is shamed, he retreats into a mental cage, replaying the moment and wishing he had said something, anything, to reclaim his dignity. He won't. He will remain a ghost in his own life, haunted by the specter of social disapproval. You are no longer that man. By understanding the mechanics of social execution, the pincer movements of reversal, and the necessity of long-game retribution, you have stepped out of the livestock pen. You now understand that shame is merely a tool, a blunt instrument used by the fearful to feel powerful. When you look at an aggressor now, you don't see a threat. You see a set of predictable biological impulses. You see a weak actor trying to stick to a script you have already burned. Machiavelli wrote that it is the nature of men to be bound by the benefits they confer as much as by those they receive. From this point forward, your respect is a benefit that must be earned, and your contempt is a tax that must be feared. The masses will continue to play the game of politeness while they quietly devour each other. Let them. Your path is different. You have traded the comfort of the herd for the sovereignty of the predator. Most men will watch this and return to their cages, hoping for a world that is kinder. You know better. You know that in the theater of power, you are either the one on stage or the one being sacrificed. The choice was never theirs. It was always yours. The ritual is over. You are free.